NutriCast.
Look, as an entrepreneur, a couple of things I would share with entrepreneurs is A, make a plan, set up a strategy. When you get into business, have a clear strategy. Put yourself clear goals. Some of these goals may be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line, but have a goal. It's a very important element to set up a proper strategy with good goals. As you move forward in the market, things are going to happen that are going to make you change your strategy.
Welcome to Think Business with Tyler, sharing our methods and strategies for success. Join in on our conversations with business owners as we highlight their triumphs and detail how they overcame the challenges they faced while continuing to grow and scale their business. It's time to think life, think success, and think business with your host, Tyler Martin.
In today's episode, I'm joined by Marius Silvasan, CEO of eCapital, a pioneer in the world of small and mid-sized business financing. Have you ever wondered how to achieve that elusive work-life balance as an entrepreneur, or what it takes to secure funding when traditional banks say no? Marius shares his personal journey, his strategies for scaling eCapital, and invaluable advice on optimizing cash flow and growing your business. We'll dive into innovative financing solutions, the power of technology in funding SMBs faster than ever, and why supporting small businesses is vital to our economy. Let's start the show. Hey, Marius, welcome to the Think Business with Tyler podcast show. How are you doing today?
Oh, very good, very good. Very nice to be here, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you spending the time with us. I'd love to first find out a little bit about you. What do you do professionally?
I'm the CEO at eCapital, which is a specialty lender providing working capital facilities to small and mid-sized businesses, which is a really hot topic these days.
It is. It really is. And then I'd love to know something about you personally. Is there anything you can share that maybe the rest of the world doesn't know? And if it's not that salacious, that's okay. But even just anything you can share.
I'm a father of 3 kids, twin boys, keeping me very busy. They're 12 years old. So I'm, working really hard. Obviously, I've been an entrepreneur all of my life, and balancing the work life and balancing the family life is important to me. So,
wow, you've already said like multiple things. I'm just curious about. How do you define small and medium sized businesses? What's your definition of that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because when you look at the U.S. In general, there's roughly around 32 million businesses in the United States. And really 99% of those businesses are classified as SMBs. So it's a huge number. And the way we're classifying SMBs is typically companies which are generating anywhere up to $150 million in sales. A lot of them are much smaller, generating less than $1 million in sales, which is a big part of it, and typically employing up to 200 employees. And that's really what's driving the U.S. economies is the SMBs. 99% of the businesses in this country are classified as SMBs.
Yeah. Sometimes people refer to small businesses as up to $1 billion. And it's like, wow, it's just, that doesn't seem small to me. But it's interesting you bring up these data points. This week is, as we're recording this, is National Small Business Week. And so as part of that, I've been doing a handful of videos on my social media channels. And it is interesting. There's 33 million small businesses. And to your point, it's interesting. There's so many that fall in terms of supporting the economy, creating jobs, building communities. And yet sometimes I feel like small business is kind of the forgotten stepchild, so to speak. I mean, do you see that in a way, or what are your thoughts around that?
Well, look, I totally agree with you. I mean, when you look at, and you're thinking about 99% of the businesses, and when you look at those businesses, a lot of them are being overlooked, in our space by traditional lenders. Remember, we, as we help businesses grow, we provide working capital facilities to these businesses. We work with entrepreneurs on an ongoing basis, helping them grow their businesses, make them more competitive. It's a huge market. And the large institutions, to a large extent, are overlooking what's really driving the U.S. economy.
Does cash flow have you down? Profit not where you think it should be? Maybe it's the long hours. Let's meet to see if I can help. I bridge driving the financial performance of your business to hit growth and success targets. Book a complimentary meeting at meetforgrowth.com to get started now. Once again, that's meetforgrowth.com. I look forward to talking with you. And thanks for listening to the show.
And, the large institutions, to a large extent, are overlooking what's really driving the US economy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Now, the other thing that you said that caught my ear is you said, hey, I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. I've got a family and I'm trying to manage basically work life balance, is what you said. So I'd love to understand, how do you do that? Like, what's your way of approaching work life balance so you can be effective at work, but you also can be effective at your home life?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think as an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, you have to be focused. You have to be able to say, when I'm at work, I'm focused on my business, I'm focused on the success of the business. But as an entrepreneur, as any person, you need to be able to disconnect, and you need to be able to go home and spend some time with your families, spend some quality time. So I think balancing that aspect of it is critical to long-term longevity into your business as well as your personal life.
Yeah, yeah. That's good stuff. I like that. Is there anything consciously you have to do to kind of turn off? Because obviously I read somewhere you guys had 422% growth in a very short time frame, a 3-year time period, which is amazing growth. Do you have to consciously turn, because that sounds like when you have kind of hyper growth like that, you're married to your company as you see it growing. Do you have to turn yourself off, or what, did you have some tricks that get you away?
Yeah, I think you got to turn yourself off. I mean, leave the business and spend some, as I said, some quality time with your family. But as an entrepreneur, so a lot of them don't have this work balance, and that's a problem. But yeah, you have to consciously, be able to segregate your work life, your entrepreneurial life, your entrepreneurial desires from being able to spend some quality time with your family.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like you have good balance in terms of setting up those guardrails, which is interesting because a lot of times we don't do that, and it leads to burnout. And I think it also leads to underperforming in your business just because you don't draw those lines. So that's interesting. Hey, I want to switch gears. Let's talk about eCapital. What caused you to get into this world of, is alternative financing? Is that fair to use that terminology? Is that the correct terminology?
Yeah, alternative financing. I mean, we use this word, I would say, to a certain extent loosely. I mean, it is
Okay.
financing that is provided to SMBs, which is to a certain extent financing that banks could provide as well. They're just not in this space, and we can talk about this a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, we provide working capital facilities to support the growth of the SMBs. That you call it alternative, specialty finance. All of those terms are define the industry.
Got it. So what drove you personally to get in a space like this? And I guess my most obvious question would be, where do you get capital to be able to turn around? I mean, is that something where I'm sure you're not self-funded. Do you have partners? How do you do that so that you can, provide vehicles to small business?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, as I said earlier, I've been an entrepreneur pretty much all of my career. I've been an entrepreneur, had businesses in a variety of industries, including telecommunication, wireless distribution. So therefore, I understand the needs and the struggles of entrepreneurs. I've been there. I've started a small business. I struggled to grow that business. I had cash flow issues in terms of being able to manage, purchases of goods, receivables, inventories, buying equipment, machineries. So I totally understand how, the struggles that entrepreneurs are going through these days. And as I grew my own businesses and became successful and sold some of them, I was introduced to what was eCapital, and was much smaller at that time. And I felt, what, this could be a great vehicle for me to get involved and really make a difference in helping SMBs get better and help them grow. And that really attracted me. And that's why I got involved with eCapital and formulated a strategy, as you said, to grow it substantially over the last several years.
How do you mitigate your own risk? Like, it sounds like you have a variety of different products. I believe you have like invoice factoring and some various other products, which I'd love to talk about a little more. How do you, as your own business, kind of insulate yourself from some of those areas that could be perceived as risky?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the landscape, the question is, why are traditional bank scaling back from providing funding to SMBs? And the main reason is technology. When you're dealing with SMBs, you have to be able to understand the SMB space. You have to be able to offer a compelling offer that provides capital to the SMBs when they need it. You have to be able to provide the maximum amount of capital to SMBs in order to help them reach their own objectives. And when you look at the traditional banks, they're just not set up to be able to do this. And therefore, what makes us successful is we built technology that helps us assess the SMBs and really helps us and augments our ability to properly service really this segment that needs us most, that needs the most amount of financing. So knowledge and technology are really key issues in terms of our ability to service this space.
Got it. So when you say you kind of have a proprietary, and I'm putting words in your mouth, but it sounds like kind of a proprietary methodology of how you assess. What are you looking for generally? Like what makes up a good profile to you on a typical small business that says, oh, this is the right profile that we would want to be able to help?
Sure. Sure. I mean, there's various different components. Obviously, the character of the individual is one of the key considerations. Second is really the quality of the assets. What assets are owned or generated through the business? In a lot of the SMBs, obviously the first asset is going to be accounts receivables. You know, an SMB sells goods and or products to someone. So as a seller of those goods and products, you sell them and then you got to wait to get paid. And that, puts a strain on your cash flow. So we're assessing the value of those receivables, the quality of the receivables. Then we're assessing the quality of the inventories being purchased to fulfill that service or those goods. And obviously, if they utilize equipment and real estate, all of those assets are being assessed. So as a non-bank lender, our focus is a lot more on the quality of the assets being generated by the SMB than how strong the balance sheet is, how profitable the SMB is. We know a small and mid-sized business is going to go through struggles as it grows. It's going to go through periods in which it'll be profitable. It's going to go through periods in which it's not going to be profitable. It's going to struggle from a cash flow perspective. We understand all of those things, and we're not concerned about them in terms of assessing how we can help those businesses grow.
What percentage of businesses that come to you would you say you can help in some way related to the different options that you offer? Like, is there a percentage you know of? Like, is it 80% that come to you and go, yeah, we can offer some type of product to you, or is it 80% you can't help?
I mean, it's difficult to assess a percentage. What I can tell you is we currently service thousands and thousands of SMBs with their working capital needs. That number is growing on an ongoing basis. And a lot of the SMBs, from the ones generating, less than $1 million in sales to the ones generating over $1 million in sales, are great candidates for us being able to help them and provide our working capital solutions.
Okay. I guess where I was going with that is, let's say I'm making this number up, 50% you can't help. What is it that you see? Is there a recurring theme where, like, hey, this is what I need you guys to do, the Miss Joe or Jane business owner, that would make you more, it would allow us to be able to help you? Is there any theme or anything that you see commonly where you'd go, hey, these are things that you could do and you're going to be more likely to be able to get the help that you need from someone like us?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in an environment in which, labor costs are going up. We're in an environment in which material costs are going up. We're in an environment in which borrowing costs are higher. So, these are real issues facing SMBs today. So how can they help them themselves? How can they help themselves? For us to help them is, one aspect of it is them, managing their inventories, meaning if you can set up a supply chain in which you buy an inventory when you need it versus carrying a lot of inventory, that's a huge boost to SMBs. Making sure you reduce the number of SKUs you're dealing with. Just focus on the SKUs or the products that are really selling through. Make sure you get rid of, in a timely fashion, of items that are going to become obsolete, or items that may, from a price perspective, decrease in value over time. So all of those aspects are, I think, key aspects from an SMB's perspective to make sure that if they do them, they position themselves in a better position. And obviously, as they position themselves in a better position, they position us in a better position to help them get to the next level.
What about on the AR side? Is there anything they could be doing there? Is it customer quality? Is it contracts? Is there anything there that would be more, allow for you guys to have a better comfort level of lending against AR?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, obviously, selecting quality buyers is important, and also selling a quality product. And what do I mean by that is, you don't want to be in a situation which an SMB sells something to a buyer and 50% of those products come back. It's not efficient. It's not efficient for the buyer. It's not efficient for the SMB because then you're dealing with a lot of inventory that suddenly has come back and is problematic. So I think assessing, making sure you're selecting the right buyers, selling them the right products is a huge help. We're not concerned in how fast the buyers are going to pay the SMBs. That's why we step in. That the buyer you're selling a product to or a service pays you in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. It's less relevant because when you set up appropriate financing, you're getting the cash now for the future value of those receivables. And that's a big help.
Yeah. Let's talk about your various forms of financing. Can you go through like your a few of your most popular products?
Sure. I mean, in terms of popular options, one would be the invoice purchasing product, where a client would sell us their receivables. We would pay them immediately for those receivables, and then we wait to get paid by the debtors at some point in the future. That's a very popular option. A second option for larger SMBs, where they have more than just accounts receivables. They may have inventories, they may have some equipment in real estate. We're going to wrap it around in terms of an asset-based loan. So in that scenario, we would advance against all of the assets of the business, providing the business with more liquidity. And that loan would be secured against that pool of assets. It could be also just a line of credit, could be a term loan. So there's a variety of different options that we can utilize based on the needs and based on where the SMB is at in their life cycle that can help them get to the next level.
If you're a business owner feeling stuck in your business, overwhelmed, responsible for everything that happens, and working long hours, Tyler helps his clients develop processes, hire high-performing team members, and better understand their financial metrics and numbers to allow for a more predictable, less hands-on business. To schedule a free, no-pressure consultation, head to thinktyler.com and click the meeting button. Tyler would love to see if he can help you work on your business, not in your business. Schedule a consultation today at thinktyler.com. Think life, think success, think business.
Life is hard, but finding a really great podcast makes the days go by so much easier. Hi, my name is Blue Telusma. I'm a writer, an emotional intelligence coach, and the host of Humanize with Blue Telusma, a podcast where we believe that when you humanize everyone in the room, a great conversation is almost guaranteed. Join us every week here on Electricast as me and my guest co-hosts unpack big topics and interview even bigger personalities with a sense of humor and a dash of mischief. If you're looking for a new best friend in your head, we've got you covered. Electricast.
And based on where the SMB is at in their life cycle, that can help them get to the next level.
What does it look like from a borrower standpoint? Do they come to you going, "Hey, we want to secure our invoices and have you buy them," or is that do you kind of decide which path is best for them?
Yeah, what I'll tell you usually what the borrowers look for. They just look for money.
Right.
I'm a business owner. I have money tied up into my receivables. I got money tied up into my inventories. I bought some equipment. And I'm struggling. I need to keep ahead. So, they usually come to us because they need money. We then look at the business, speak to the owners, assess the quality of the assets, and we'll come back to them with the best proposal that we feel suits their needs. The structure of the financing is secondary. Really, the key component for an SMB's perspective is, when do I get my money? How much do I get it? And, as faster I get it, better it is. So those are the components important to them. And that's what we're really trying to achieve, as we're looking at how we're going to help those SMBs get to the next level.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what is your process for getting money in hand? Do you guys have any certain timeline that you try to meet, or is it just totally dependent upon that business owner? What does that look like?
Look, it could look like somebody gets onboarded on the platform within hours. And they get funded. So it be as quickly as that. I mean, a lot of the underwriting is very efficient, is automated, and an SMB can get through the process in question of hours. Now, if it's not in question of hours, could be a couple of days, could be a couple of weeks, depending on the complexity of the situation. But we understand that when somebody comes to us, there is a need, and that need is immediate, and we're trying to fulfill it as quickly as possible.
Right. And you serve across the United States?
Yes, we service across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. So we really service
Oh, wow.
customers in three countries at this point.
Wow, that's a big territory. One thing that I used to see, and maybe this has gone away with technology, or it's not as high, or maybe it's even higher. I'd be curious your thoughts. I've seen a lot of when we talk about factoring, which I think is what you're talking about in terms of buying invoices, the client selling invoices to you is just traditional factoring. I've seen a lot of fraud in that area, and I don't know if fraud's the right word. The business owner is very tied for capital, and they sell you an invoice, and then maybe they have a product return or it's a duplicate invoice or something, and that doesn't get mentioned to you guys. And then they continue to factor additional invoices. Do you still deal with that in your climate, or does technology reduce the exposure for that?
Look, we deal with that. Absolutely. I mean, there are unfortunately some bad actors in the space, but technology is really helping us in terms of managing that risk. And by us managing that risk, what it really means is we can be more competitive with our customers in general, because we have to deal with less losses as a result of frauds. So better we are in assessing the quality, the validity of the receivables, eliminating frauds, helps us put more money and put more money at a competitive rate in the hands of our SMBs. So yes, technology has become a big part in terms of how we're managing not only fraud, but how we're managing efficiencies, how we're managing volumes, how we're able to scale up, how we're able to service more SMBs, across the board.
Are you seeing anything as far as technology is concerned, like in the AI space, of being able to look at data points and things and help with that decision process?
Yeah, I mean, look, AI is a buzzword these days.
Right, right.
I would tell you from our perspective, we have invested substantial dollars in terms of our back office platform, in terms of our technology platform. And yes, we have automated a lot of aspects of it to be more efficient. We have started utilizing AI to reconcile, invoices, reconcile payments. The good news is, when we receive payments and when we receive funding requests, instead of processing those in hours, we're able to process those in minutes. Obviously, processing invoices and funding requests within minutes, it's a huge help for the SMB space. In addition to that, we not only fund the SMBs in an efficient manner, but also provide on our technology platform the ability for SMBs to effect payments. So what does this mean in practical terms is we can fund a customer 365 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as we fund that customer, money becomes available on the customer's account, and that customer can disperse those funds immediately. They don't need to send it outside to a bank. So what happens, we've compressed the amount of time in which we get the money to our customers, and we've also compressed the amount of time in which they can go ahead and spend that money as they see fit to achieve business goals. That's a huge change in terms of how we're dealing with SMBs and where the future of our market is going.
Yeah, that's quite a differentiator for sure. Wow. To be able to, you traditionally think holidays, things shut down. Sounds like you're saying in that model, things keep moving.
Yeah, no, we don't shut down. We don't shut down.
Yeah,
SMBs
that's
don't shut
awesome.
down. They need monies every day. We're there for them every day.
That's awesome. What about industries? Industries of SMBs, are there any ones that are more attractive in terms of the clients you can work with versus maybe industries that you can't necessarily work with or a little more challenging?
I mean, look, we provide financing to 80 different industries, so I would say we're across the board. Now, I would tell you that being said, there are industries where we have a higher level of exposure to, and the reason is those industries, there's more SMBs and they need more money. And as an example, transportation is a space that it has a lot of single truckers. They need money on a daily basis. They have a lot of small fleets. They need money on a daily basis. So it's a very active space. Healthcare is another space that is very active. You get a lot of either regional hospitals, home care facilities, assisted living facilities. that need monies. They need monies to service patients and until they get paid by insurance providers. Staffing agencies is another huge space. A lot of the larger corporates shy away from hiring full-time employees, and they hire contractors. And the staffing agencies, which provides those contractors, needs to pay them. But then they wait to get paid by the corporate. So again, is a huge need for financing. Manufacturing customers need financing to produce their goods to sell. So there are some industries where we've gone deeper. We're providing financing and a lot of other products and services in order to help the customers within those industries be as successful as possible. Remember, our objective is to make our clients successful. If our clients are successful, then we are successful as a firm.
So sometimes when you think of lending, especially when it's kind of creative lending, sometimes that the lenders can be less than ethical. It can be an area that sometimes is known as, kind of predatory. Do you guys do anything that separates you from maybe being considered a predatory lender even in that area?
Well, look, I'm going to break up the space. So I'm going to say, on one side, the extreme side is you have the banks. Banks they're not servicing SMBs, but they're marginally servicing the SMBs, or they're servicing the larger SMBs with better balance sheet, with more wealthy owners. But that's not the masses. Then you have lenders which are more regional based, more traditional lenders.
Okay.
They're smaller, and those, a lot of them are very ethical and are very good businesses, but you could have some abuse in certain situations. But then I would say the space that the SMB should really focus on is, what are these larger non-bank lenders coming up in the space? And most of these larger non-bank lenders, and I'm going to use a jargon which I'm going to explain, are fintechs, financial technology companies. So they're lenders that have built technology in order to be able to assist their lending. And those, in most cases, are much larger, are providing a lot better level of stability in terms of providing the capital to SMBs, and are a lot more efficient in terms of providing the financing. As an SMB, look for those lenders. Look for a lender that has been around. Look for a lender that has a history of servicing SMBs, that doesn't have a bad reputation, and that utilizes technology. Because as an SMB, again, you want to be serviced right away. You don't want to have to call somebody to be able to get funded. You want to be able to get onto your computer, get onto your phone, submit your funding request, and you want your funding request to be approved within minutes, because that's efficient. That gets you the money right away, where only the very large non-bank platforms are able to do so. So as a business owner, focus on those. You're not going to go wrong.
Does cash flow have you down? Profit not where you think it should be? Maybe it's the long hours. Let's meet to see if I can help. I bridge driving the financial performance of your business to hit growth and success targets. Book a complimentary meeting at meetforgrowth.com to get started now. Once again, that's meetforgrowth.com. I look forward to talking with you. And thanks for listening to the show.
You want to be able to get onto your computer, get onto your phone, submit your funding request, and you want your funding request to be approved within minutes, because that's efficient. That gets you the money right away, where only the very large non-bank platforms are able to do so. So as a business owner, focus on those. You're not going to go wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Hey, I want to ask you, before we wrap up here, I want to ask you one more question. You have sounds like a great career. You've been an entrepreneur. Now you're serving entrepreneurs at a high level. Do you have any takeaways? Like, a lot of members out in the audience are sometimes struggling with their business, sometimes doing very well. So we got a wide range. What are some words of wisdom around building a good business? Anything that you have takeaways of how to build a good business? What are things we should be focusing on as business owners? And when is it, even the last part of this, when is the right time to go out and seek financing?
Look, as an entrepreneur, a couple of things I would share with entrepreneurs is, make a plan, set up a strategy. When you get into business, have a clear strategy. Put yourself clear goals. Some of these goals may be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line, but have a goal. It's a very important element to set up a proper strategy with good goals. As you move forward in the market, things are going to happen that are going to make you change your strategy, change a little bit course. Doesn't mean your end objectives are different, It just means you may have to get there using a different path. But using a different path towards achieving your ultimate objective, there's nothing wrong with that. And also understand that change is just part of business. Things are going to happen. Distractions are going to happen. Just keep on being focused on your end objective. And also hire the right people. People, SMBs, like any other business, is a people business. Smarter, better people, better qualified people are going to make a business successful. In most cases, the success of the business is not related to a one-man show. It's a group effort. And, from a financing perspective, ask and get money, secure loans, secure lines of credit when you don't need it. That's the best time to secure your line of credit because you're not under pressure. You can negotiate the right terms. You have time to select the right lender. And when you need it, you'll have the dry powder. You'll have the financing established that you can take advantage of it to make sure you don't miss a beat. And the best time to put it is when it's sunny outside, when things are going great, because that's when lenders will look at you and they'll say, we'll see the best picture and they will give you the best terms. So those are going to be, my advice to upcoming SMBs or sort of upcoming entrepreneurs.
That was a lot of good stuff. There's a lot there. Hey, so and I'll put this in the thinktyler.com show notes. Your domain is eCapital.com. By the way, that's a great domain. I don't know how you got such a short one. eCapital.com. If people wanted to reach out to you, anywhere else you want them to go, or is that the best place to go?
It's the best place to go on our website. I'm on the website. I'm happy for entrepreneurs to reach out to me directly. I'm always happy to give advice to anyone that wants it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. I love the space you're in because I really do believe you're helping businesses deal with one of their most biggest challenges, and that's cash flow and liquidity. So it's cool that you guys are making a focus and investing in technology and trying to be different from an area that's underserved. So thanks for being here and thanks for sharing your story.
Great. Thanks for having me, Tyler. It was great being here.
Thank you.
That's all for this episode of Think Business with Tyler. But we have plenty more resources to help you in your pursuit of business excellence on our website at thinktyler.com. If you'd like to be featured in a future episode of the show, feel free to reach out to us on social media at think_Tyler. We look forward to helping you think life, think success, and think business.